That sounds nice. Hey, yo, what up? This is Verbal from Fat Sound, formerly of Music Weapons. I actually sold that company to Anno Domini, yet I'm still developing plugins with him. Um, Fat Sound is now the home of the former creator, owner, and plugin creator for Music Weapons, and this is where all of my new plugins will be. Soundfat.com. If you aren't aware, I haven't actually told many people. So we have our first plugin that I'm bringing out. Kind of did a soft release initially. It is the Fat Sound Flavor, and Flavor, what it is essentially dynamic convolution, capturing various pieces of hardware, consoles, preamps, even from things to like little boom boxes, things like that. Mostly capturing things that have admirable character and putting them in a tone box, essentially, or a channel strip. You can get it at soundfat.com. Its introductory price is $99.99. We have it on sale right off the bat. You simply get it on here, as you can see. Virtual hardware emulation and tone box. It's been working. I've been working on it for about 4 years. Say it's got the same technology as I'm not gonna say three letters. Things that having to do with Steven, and there's other ones about nonlinear, etc. There's a lot of these kind of console emulation plugins, but to me they were all a little too subtle. Granted that a lot of times the characters that it would impart were pretty admirable, they were a little too subtle for me. So when I set out on doing Flavor, I wanted it first off to be a lot more noticeable, and secondly, have a lot more varieties. As you can see, similar products are only offer 3 to 5 different hardware models, and Flavor has actually 117 different ones. And beyond the simple up and down thing like that with the volume, there's a lot more to it. We have drive and blend and a lot of tonal variations that you can pull out of each individual model. So that kind of makes the possibilities endless. You could put a silver box master EQ on your drum bus. You can put a British preamp on your vocals. You can do things like that. I like the idea of kind of bringing that idea and making it more. Let's see, just kind of taking it and running with it. This idea I had right when all these things initially came out, and I was always wondering why there was such a small amount of options, knowing the technology behind it. But now, through dynamic convolution and various harmonics processors, basically that's how we make it a tone box and slash hardware emulation unit. And that is what Flavor is. You purchase it here. It's got the PC and Mac version right there. It is VST 32 and 64-bit for PC, as well as VST and audio units for Mac, and it's all one installer. And once you purchase it here, it'll show up in your email in addition to your license key, which you will need once you install. Installation is very simple. It's just a traditional installer. I'm not going to run through that. Everybody knows how to click next. You don't even have to change the location. It's not a large plugin. It's not very large. Doesn't take a lot of CPU. You can probably run 100 and something instances on a modern CPU. But yeah, so as you purchase it, you'll get your email and your license key, and you will load up your DAW, whatever various one. I'm going to be using Cubase today to show you because that's my jam, and we'll move on to the usage and the overview. So we're here in Cubase. I am in 8.5 because I didn't see much reason to upgrade as of now. I got a little beat sampler here back from 2013 I just had sitting on my computer. I'm going to use to run through some of the models and show you the plugin. Now, as you know, bringing up a plugin, very simple, selecting the inserts, and there you go. You'll see flavor down there, the 64. I'm in the 64-bit version of Cubase. Gonna load it up. Now, your first time running it up, it's going to have a box over here, and it's going to have it's not going to be functional. There will be no sound passing through it until you enter your license key that you get in your email. You simply paste it in here and push enter, and it will unlock it forever. You get, there's three instances basically per license that you're able to run on 3 different computers. So usually people don't have more than 3 setups. If you do, any extenuating circumstances, you can hit me up. So here's flavor. Took a long time to go. I always really enjoy making mock hardware type looking units. As you can see here, we got a VU meter that's just gonna show us what's passing through. We got our presets, our current preset, and you can also click that and bring up the preset browser. There's the previous and the next, and there's our spices fader and our flavor fader, which is our jam right there. And we have a nice and smooth low and high cut filters. I like the idea of having that directly on here. Kind of extenuates the tone box kind of idea. I filter a lot in a lot of things I do. We got the drive here, and we got blend, and we have output. And through these various adjustments, you can kind of tune in exactly how the tone you want to get. You can take the hardware character, blend it in, add a little of the drive from it, blend that in. It's got a lot of versatility as to what kind of tones you can get out of here. You can just have some subtle kind of rubbing of it, little dry rub of the flavor, or you can blatantly just burn it up, put it spicy with some drive and stuff like that. So I've really enjoyed. I was listening earlier, and I had this right here, and initially, you can hear how it sounds initially. These I actually chose this sampler because back when I made this, I remember that my beats were they were just a little thin, just a touch, especially on the lows. I think it was overcompensating with my sub at the time. But you can hear how it sounded initially. This beat coming up right here. I love this beat. And as you can see, it's a super dope beat initially, but that was with it bypassed. So let's activate it and grab the ape highs. I actually had saved over the initial preset because I had a nice blend. If you can see, I added some spice, blended it in, some drive. Obviously didn't use the high and low, but you can see the difference in it. It fills it out and gives it a nice character. I use these a lot on buses. You'll see. Watch. Now watch the difference. So much thicker. You hear that? The highs have a thing. The whole thing is just thicker and just nicer. No. This is before, after. That sounds I very much like that. It's just just one of the examples of, that was me kind of playing with it earlier. But I'll start from the front and we'll just kind of go through some. Everyone really, one thing I noticed over here, doing these dynamic convolutions is there's always a nice lows. There's a lot of lows and highs being affected here, and I think when people had made these initially, they died down the responses that they were getting when they would sample with the convolution, just to make it so it wasn't as noticeable. But I mean, to me, I like the idea of it being very noticeable and then being able to blend it and die it down more so. So that was the 8 pies. If you can think of what would be AP. Oh yeah. So I never wanted to use any actual names. I don't know the legalities beyond that, but so yeah, I'll play through some presets here. I remember specifically something I like to use is the what I call the Aviation Master EQ. I really like that, how that sounds on things. I believe that is in my preamps. Oh, that's in hardware. Just smooth. It really smooths it out. Listen to the difference. Too snap, just abrasive. Now listen. Now, there's a lot that we can do here. So the spices is essentially a lot of drive here. So we can drive it a little bit and then fade that in. Give it some drive. Some little bit of, that's a little too much right there. Let's go back. Now we can blend in some of the original signal to bring back some snap. Like that right there. Yeah, that's way better now. So now it has the snap and the thickness. See, I was adjusting the blend. Okay. It's just missing. It doesn't have none of that butter. I'll enable it again. I want to save that. That's a nice one. Anyways, it's pretty much that's a great example of what it does. Is there it kind of just adds that something. I can't really explain it. It really something that you find out over time once you deal with some of these high end pieces is the you're really getting a lot of low mid and some high harmonics there that are going on that are just kind of filling it out. It almost seems when you hear in comparison, as you see here, it just seems empty. Like it's clean. There's nothing wrong with it. Like if I heard it, there's nothing wrong with it. But if I hear it with it, it makes me feel completely different. Are you kidding me? Now it's got sauce. It's got that flavor, and that's what we call it. So basically, the usage of this is that the spices is some extra harmonics that are being brought to the table via the drive of whatever unit we've kind of figured out. And so the amount of drive that you want is set here, and then you can blend that with the initial dynamic convolution. So this just makes things crazy. So you just have so much. And then when I found a lot of times blending all three things, blending the actual original signal with the spices and the flavor, it's kind of essentially the same usage of parallel compression really is what's going on, but you're taking some harmonics here. You got the convolution that has its own type of thing going on with the filtering and the harmonics itself, and then the original signal being blended back in. You find yourself just it's really crazy. It's really great to have on a bus, particularly when it's kind of like a glue thing, like the way people use the SSL bus compressors or such. So yeah, the flavor itself. This is the amount of convolution that you're going to be using, and the spices is you fading in the amount of drive that you got. So beyond that, you could do simple things like you could have it. Filter. Yeah. It's a really nice filter too. I don't play. Man. Sometimes I forget. Like, I spent so much time on this and just initially learning how to make it, and then once I figured out that I could, and then I went through the process of getting through all the gear and running signals through it. It it has been. It's almost like I worked so long on something, and I'm just now finally realizing just how great it is to me. I like the idea of it being a tone box and an initial, aside from it being the console emulation and things like that with the convolution, it's very flexible. So you can go, okay, let's go a little crazy on it. Let's get a little crazier. Okay, we got this sound right here. Got that initial blend. Let's give it more juice. You hear that? Dial it down a little bit. That's pushing it. Ooh, it's fun though. I like being able to just mess with it like that. So, beyond just using it as a bus tool or a little bit of flavor, sometimes you can throw it and it's got a nice cool drive to it. It's a very distinct tone because the convolution mixed with the harmonics, it just is going to give you an infinite amount of possibilities. So that is the unit itself. As you can see, you can go through the various units. We're going to go through the presets a lot more here in the next segment, and we're moving on. Alright, so now we're going to go over some of how the presets are laid out here. So due to the size of the plugin, and I didn't really want to kind of be having any spillover, I wanted the people to have the ability to have quite a bit of these open at the same time. Made it kind of thin. Didn't need a lot going on, and as you can kind of grab what it says initially, but it's got 7 different categories in consoles, hardware, which is preamps essentially, and compressors and such. However, I kind of made this more of EQs. It's more about EQs and various things like that. Then we have the lo-fi, which is pretty cool if you want to add in kind of a lo-fi kind of feel. I'll be going through a lot of these. We got little guitar boxes, jukeboxes, little retro radios, some things like that. One of the cool things is it was very complex actually to get these, but through kind of like 3 layers of convolution, I was able to do a couple microphones. We did a ribbon. We did a very, very, very popular numbered microphones. You can see what those are, and you can kind of put a dry mic signal through them and get kind of a similar curve and harmonics that you would get from that. It's not going to be exactly on. It was very complicated and even get it. However, you can use it in a lot of creative situations. There's just miscellaneous various things, outputs through various pieces of equipment, little handmade radios and synthesizer outputs and things like that. Then we got the preamps. These are more what you would think mic preamps, line preamps. The names should give you a good idea of what they are once you look them up. Focused. You got British. What do you think that is? Aviation. It's silver. And then I have a long list of just various tubes I was able to kind of utilize. We just kind of switched them out, and there's a nice list of just how some different tubes react to audio, the harmonics, and the tonalities imparted by them as well. So you got a nice, very broad selection in comparison to just say those which you would get traditionally. So we already went through the initial 8 high. If you remember, it's I had that setting really good here. I liked it. It sits nice. Way better with it on. Anyways, I'll just play this whole thing and kind of go through some preamps. I mean, that one makes that one sound better too. So one thing you're going to want to do, because of all the processing that's going on, is when you do switch through the presets, you're going to want to turn your monitors down a little bit, because there's always a little tiny step of if you look and see what happens, it gets loud for 1 second, just to like 10 decibels. It's really difficult to get rid of it. Ooh, I like how that does it too. This is really taming the high mids. Gives it thickness. Blue triangle. Think about it. More thickness. A little more lows. The highs there. This has got cool. I like what it does to the highs. Give us some nice harmonics. Let's see what this one. This has really got a lot of butter going on. It really, really thickens it and kind of muddies it up. Ooh. I like that. It's getting slammed. Let's give it some spice. It sounds really nice. It just does really great things with the mids. I really enjoy it. It makes them so much less harsh. It's a little thinner, more about the mids actually. It's got some sparkle. That's really thin. This is a thin convolution. This adds a nice highs. Right there. It's so nice. It just makes it so much more enjoyable just to listen to. See all the adjustments I made? I like to keep the presets kind of just straight flavor, just so that you can kind of tune in, throw some spices on it, do a little blending, and get it to where you want. Like, that's what I ended up doing with all the presets, really. This isn't very pronounced. Got all that same kind of butter going on with all the hardware. This kind of lifts up the highs a little. Ooh, faulty channel. Sounds exactly what it sounds like. I like that. More thickness. It really sounds like, ooh. Now this is a good example of a lot of the models themselves, like a lot of analog gear. It has it really is about the butter, the low mids and the highs, kind of smoothing everything out. Now there's a couple of them in there. This is I believe, what was this from? It's not even nothing that special. It was just like an older kind of Woodside MCI, or I don't even remember what kind of console this was. But it did something fun with the highs to me. It kind of stuck them out a little bit. So I like the idea of having that in there, the retro console highs. This would actually probably come in handy to give your vocals a little bit of air and thickness at the same time. So let's check that. I like the way what it's doing to the highs, yet that's really nice. Wow. Wow, that's really sweet. I said sweet like it's 1996. I enjoy that very much. You know, it's all about, individuals, what you're trying to get out of it. Over time of having flavor, you're going to understand, like, okay, well, I'm kind of looking for, try to add some air to this, or if I want to kind of glue everything together, you'll find some things that are a little less, pronounced. But this would be an example of something where you would want to, that was maybe say that it was a touch muddy, there wasn't no snap in the highs, and it just missing the harmonics up there. So this is an example of that. I totally overlooked this preset. It's very nice. So let's keep it playing. Oh, well, you know what that is, right? It's very nice. It's adding thickness. Blend it in. Ooh. Much better. TL, well, if you know anything about consoles, just know that they're purple, and it's something that's thick. This is a USA console. Let's see what this is doing. It really, honestly, makes it sound like it's on tape. Let's add some drive to it. Ooh, I like that. Hear what it's doing with the kick? Woo! It's doing really nice things with the kick. Woo! Wow. Wow. That's really nice. Let's get into some other stuff, into the hardware section. That was only in the consoles, by the way, that we just rolled through. A lot of variation just within that category. Ooh, very mid-heavy here. Giving it a little thump. Ooh, I like that. Could even bring this down. I like that right there. So we changed it. It's more of a matter of taste there. You definitely are adding some low mids there and kind of rounding out the highs a little. I like it. This is arguably my favorite thing to put on the bus, though. It just does magic. Like, I'll like what it does with the lows and highs of the Aviation Master EQ. Just think of something that starts with the same letters and is silver, but it's wonderful. Ooh. Wow. It makes that kick sound so great. Yeah, it ain't nothing there. Listen to that. Holy crap. I would totally use that right there, and I would just scoop up the mids a little bit, and it would be on point. Ooh. It might be actually nice to put a retro console highs on that one. Over it, actually. The Aviation Master EQ is a wonderful thing to put on your master bus. I use that constantly. I use it a lot. Ever since I made this, I've been throwing it on the master bus of songs, beats, everything. I just love what it does. It's wonderful. Now this is what it sounds like. It's like putting a blanket on the highs. What does that sound like? It's doing a little more different. This, now that we have stumbled upon this one, magic. This has got a little magic. This is a very, very versatile model here. If you can tell by the name, blah, blah, blah. I was able to extract some of the magic that comes from this beloved hardware piece. And one of the things that I really enjoy about it is its versatility that I got from this particular one. I actually use this on vocals, even with I'll use this with plugins that are emulating it and then putting this over that, and it actually is giving me the sound that I got from the actual hardware when I've been able to use it. I don't have a lot of time where I get to be around the real the black and the blue faces. Actually, blue face I've never been around as much. Many people haven't because they're very, I think just the algae ones. But the black faces I have had a decent amount of experience with, and I very much like them. So yeah, this is a nice, very versatile model here. See, this adds a lot of cool things. Now you hear what it's doing to the lows and the highs and the mids. It's giving everything a little more juice. I love this one. Let's compare. That almost sounds like it's coming out of a boombox speaker. This makes it sound like it just soothes everything. Now watch. Oh, I love the way this one sounds. Beautiful, beautiful model. Very versatile. You'll find yourself using that very often. This is got a very big scoop on it. All the G20s are pretty blunt. This one's is similar to that, has the scoop, but it's got a little thing, a little high mid peak. Mudless. Yeah, this is more of an effect thing. It has a weird thing that it's doing with the high lows, low mids though. See, it's kind of like, I like it. I wouldn't use it on a full mix though. This is a very strange one. Called it Woody because it was weird to me. This is a pretty versatile one. It's not going to affect things too much. Gives it a little more sauce. This is just kind of soothing. I was really hoping to get more out of these, but they're very versatile. They're good. They also end it. Oh, right there. Let's give that some juice. Like that. Right there, baby. It's just wonderful how you can kind of like get great tones out of almost every single model if you mess with the blends and the spices. Ooh. I like that one much more. This is kind of, I like this one because it makes things sound old. This is what you would think. Look at the wording. It's very funny. But it's a tone. I had one of those workstation keyboards that had a tube in it, and I always kind of used it in sampling. I would throw the tube, and this is kind of like something that it would sound like. It would definitely get that more drive though. Look right about there. Blend it. That's nice. Just does so much. Every single one is just helping the lows so much. Anyways, I'm not gonna mess with that much. We're gonna mess with some lo-fi. Lo-fi is things very simple. You know, there's like guitar boxes, Bluetooth speakers, just strange. This is more about strange stuff. Like this guitar box. It really, that one I wanted to spend some time on because I enjoy messing with, I like throwing those types of things in my beats and my songs. It's like got a little of that juice. Got couple of them. Right. Yeah. This one's so sweet because of what it does with the high mids. Listen to it. It's crazy. I would, this would be something I'd probably throw as a snare layer on snare layers because it does something crazy with the high mids. I've never heard anything do this before. It's almost like it adds a reverb to it, a distorted reverb. Anyways, lo-fi, jukebox, a little bit of line ins, muddy jukebox, little filco. Little retro box. This one is funny because I put it in lo-fi because of what I sampled it from. It was not something that I thought was going to sound good, but I ended up liking it. The slow slew. It's essentially taking the character of a fairly inexpensive AD converter. Nice. That's actually very, very nice. Oh, look at what this one does though. Wow. Remember the retro console highs that what it did? This is a nice thing you could impart. You could parallel this into something and give yourself a nice, really crazy highs that you're getting. Look, I've never heard anything sound like that before. That's such a cool tone. Smiley. We know what that is. This is actually fairly subtle. Smooth mud. Somewhat small. There's another radio. Those are all the lo-fis. I actually really enjoy the lo-fis. Now, this isn't going to sound quite right, but I'm going to throw it on there for the heck of it. These are the microphones. They're kind of the curves of the microphones. Very crazy. The U, this one actually has an admirable highs. That one does as well. I was actually surprised how those reacted. Anyways, let's journey into the miscellaneous section. Oh my goodness. It's adding some thump into that. Wow. Wow. That's a nice one for lows, by the way. I didn't even know that. This is a fairly subtle. I always liked how this one kind of did with the kicks. Some more. Listen to that. You hear the fancy highs? It's doing crazy things. Yeah, the Philco was supposed to go into the lo-fi. I'm not really sure why. Wow. I like that. Wow. They all are so sweet. Like, everyone has its own kind of allure to it. There's just so many. Valves, vintage, too bright. Let's see what too bright sounds like. Oh my goodness. They all have a different thing. It's insane. Preamps. Some of these are just remarkable to put on vocals, but I actually use them a lot of times on buses. Buttercream, baby. That flavor. This does a lot of cool stuff to mids. I like it. See what it does to the transient? Wow. One of my favorite pre's. I had to capture the butter. I drove it a little hard so it would round it out. Ooh! These preamps are really versatile. One of my favorite, more subtle models is the Millennial Highs. I use that a lot of times to kind of tame things, but it adds some harmonics in the highs, but also kind of tames them, but not as much as, it's not quite as much as a lot of the models do because of the analog nature. It's so nice. Really nice lows coming from that. Great mids from that. What do you think that is? I wonder. I like the mids from that. Super butters in the lows. Eighth line. Ooh! It's almost adding a tambourine to it. Well, super thick lows. Wow. Wow. Ooh, look, it's my favorite friend. Right about there. You have this, people are going to say, you're going to say, oh, where'd you mix that? And you're going to be like, on my computer. And they're going to say, you're a liar. And you're going to get in a fight. So, that's the pre's. The tubes are crazy because it was a lot of variation here, actually. It kind of what was going on. What happened? Oh, yeah. This has the old presets. So, the tubes in the updated version, I had to redo the tube presets because they all got all messed up. Yeah, see, the top 3, I believe. Ooh. That's just adding such a cool thing. Listen to that. I could sit here and just do. It's really funny because right when I got this done, I spent, I think, 2 days just rolling through presets. So yeah, so that's the preset kind of roll through. I said I had to. I have an update I'm pulling out that fixes these top tubes. But other than that, everything's ready to rock. I've got a couple out. This is as you can see, I registered it because I made it. I better get a license to it. So now we're gonna move on to the outro, I guess. Bye. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed me running through the presets on my old beats. The one thing that I love about Flavor is there's always going to be some great aspect of the sound it's going to bring out with each individual hardware model, and really it's up to you to kind of to your taste of what you're trying to look for. You don't have to adhere to the brick walled smacking the thing completely flat frequency response of techno and all that stuff. I personally mix to taste, and I don't really like to look at spectrums very often because it kind of influences my mix decisions. But one of the things that I like about Flavor is it's always going to be adding a little bit of magic. It's either going to be in the lows and the mids and the highs. It's going to be sometimes just in the highs, some in the lows, and maybe sometimes you just need your kick to just be thicker and just have more butter, or maybe your highs are hurting a little bit and you need to smooth them out. It's sometimes you want a little more snap on your mids, or those kind of things are things that you can't necessarily just EQ in. There's a reason why a lot of this gear costs so much money, and just very simple things. Some of the admirable traits of various pieces of gear, they're known for doing certain things. The silver boxes have the real smooth highs mixed with the low mid kind of harmonics. The British pre's something I use personally in the studio a lot is it has kind of a balanced version of a little it's almost like an accentuated fancier version of a flat tone, and but with no abrasiveness, really, just in all those little elements and those things. Granted, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that it's going to be exactly the same as all of these pieces of gear. No, that's not really what we're doing here. It's really just about doing the best we can with the technology to kind of bring that into the reach of the people that can't afford $10,000 per channel just to get a little bit of sauce. And having that much variation between models, 117 various things, and mixed with the blending, the spices, the drive, you know, the various things that you can do with each individual channel. There's just so many options here, and it's pretty much going to be impossible for you not to put this on a bus or through on a vocal track or something, and you not getting something that is better than you would have got without it. And that's why flavor is something that kind of created its own lane. So $99 introductory price is a steal. Um, you're gonna get that money's worth on the first song you use when you get some of that sauce on there, and you're just gonna say, "Oh, this is what I've been missing," you know. At least, at least 99% of it. Okay, so that's flavor for you. The first of many plugins coming out from Fast Sound. It's $99.99. You can get it at soundfat.com. I am Verbal, formerly of Music Weapons, and these are all of my new plugins. You might have noticed the Fast Sound FS1 microphone, the first microphone I built, is also available for sale there. And there's pre-sales available for the Boom Bap VST. So yes, $99.99 at soundfat.com. Grab yourself a copy of Flavor. This is something that you'll be using probably for the rest of your career. And this is Verbal signing out. That sounds nice.